There was a time when Rome was not the great empire we know today. It was a time of chaos, where power and betrayal went hand in hand, where every wrong decision was paid for in blood. And in that fierce moment of history, a man emerged, not just by sword but by reason, not just by intelligence but by the ability to master himself. His name was Julius Caesar. But no, this story is not about thrones or crowns. It is about something more precious, the ability to control one's emotions in the heat of battle, a clear manifestation of the Stoic spirit, although he never called himself a philosopher. 58 BC. Caesar was appointed governor of Gaul, a strange, wild and unstable land. The native tribes did not accept the Roman presence. They resisted, pillaged, betrayed. A seemingly uncontrollable land, where he wrote his own epic, with swords and a mind that was unmoved by storms. Gallia was not a campaign. It was a series of harsh challenges that lasted for 8 years. Each battle was an opportunity for Caesar to demonstrate not only his qualities as a general, but also as a man with extraordinary emotional control. Once, the Helvetii, a nomadic tribe, violated the treaty and entered Roman territory. Caesar received the news while on the move. His army was not ready, food was scarce. His generals were seething with anger. Some suggested an immediate counterattack, blood for blood. But Caesar did not. He looked at the map. He put his hand on his chin. Then he said only one sentence: "If I fight out of anger, I am defeated before I start." He ordered his troops to retreat, organized his logistics, cut off the enemy's supply lines, and then attacked when the enemy was not expecting them. In that battle, Rome won a great victory and he won himself. Stoicism teaches us that emotions are the enemies of reason. Anger, jealousy, pride, all are just fires that burn away wisdom. Caesar, although a dictator, never let emotions overwhelm strategy. He understood that there is nothing more dangerous than a leader who acts in anger. Another day, Caesar fell into a situation of betrayal. A Gaulish chieftain named Dumnorix, who had sworn allegiance, secretly organized an uprising. When the officers learned of this, they demanded his immediate execution. They said, "A traitor cannot be spared." But Caesar did not rush to judgment. He called Dumnorix, looked him straight in the eye and asked, "Why?" No shouting. No insults. He listened. Then he decided to kill him, not out of anger but out of strategy. He understood that betrayal comes from fear and distrust. And if not handled properly, it spreads like wildfire. Stoicism did not tell us to be soft. On the contrary, to be firm but fair. Not out of anger to punish, but for the sake of the stability of the situation. Once, during the harsh winter at Alesia, where he had surrounded the leader Vercingetorix, reinforcements arrived from behind. Caesar was surrounded on both sides. Internal confusion. The soldiers began to talk about retreat. But he stood on the ramparts in the snow and wind, and said only one sentence: "We cannot control our fate, but we can control our minds." And he ordered 2 siege walls built in reverse. One for the interior, one for the exterior, turning the siege into a tactical advantage. He bet everything on calmness, not luck. And as you know, Rome won. Stoicism teaches us that even if the world falls apart outside, if our hearts are not shaken, we are still free. Caesar lived like that, not letting circumstances control our spirit. Using our spirit to change circumstances. What made Caesar great was not that he never failed. It was that when faced with failure he did not blame, did not complain, did not surrender. He observed, analyzed, learned. When a revolt in the Eburones destroyed an entire Roman legion, he did not shirk responsibility. He went there, re-examined every position, every mistake of the commander. And instead of punishing with blood, he changed the way officers were selected, increased the clarity of orders and raised the morale of the entire army. As Seneca once wrote, "We suffer not because of events but because of how we look at them." Caesar did not see failure as a stain. He saw it as a lesson, an opportunity to grow. You may not be a general. You may not lead armies. You may not write history with a sword. But you have your own battles, at work, at home, in your mind. You will encounter betrayals. You will be humiliated. You will face choices where emotions want to explode, where the ego wants to take revenge. But at that moment, if you can stop, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is within my control? Does this emotion help me act better? Then you have lived like Caesar. You have acted like a Stoic. Julius Caesar exemplified a simple yet powerful truth. The greatest victory is not the defeat of the enemy. It is the mastery of oneself. Gallia was not just a conquest of land. It was an inner conquest. Caesar did not build his empire by force alone. It was through calmness, reason, and mental discipline, as Marcus Aurelius later wrote. The strongest man is he who is not overcome by his emotions. Remember, you do not need to be an emperor to live like a sage. You only need a mind that is strong enough to withstand storms, and a reason that is not overcome by emotions. Live like Caesar during the Gallic campaign. Not to conquer the world, to conquer yourself.